Farm Week and FarmWeekNow.com journalist Kay Shipman connects rural routes for you. For 3 decades, Kay has delivered important news. She covers everything from legislative issues to the latest in soil and water conservation. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I love covering so many aspects of agriculture and providing readers with the facts they need to make better decisions. I also get to work with farmers and meet new people along the way.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Does the warmer weather have you itching for a weekend getaway? Take your Illinois Farm Bureau membership savings with you.
Farm Bureau members can save up to 20% at choice hotels, including favorites like Comfort Suites, Sleep Inn, Quality Inn and Suites, with even more to choose from.
Call 800-258-2847 or visit the Choice Hotels website to search all the hotels at once and to make advance reservations.
Contact your local County Farm Bureau for your discount code number.
You're listening to RFD Town and Country Partners, connecting you with the food you eat, the Illinois farmers who grow it, and the food-related events, destinations, and lifestyles that make our state great.
Welcome to RFD Town and Country Partners on a Friday. I'm DeLoss Yonke, joined in studio by Sabrina Berkowitz, our senior social media specialist at IFB. How are you?
Afternoon, good. I should say.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we always do a morning segment.
I know.
Here we are doing an afternoon segment. And on the phone, down in Mount Vernon at University of Illinois Extension, Bond, Clinton, Jefferson, Marion, and Washington counties. Pam Shellhorn is on the phone. Pam, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. CED educator. What's the CE and D there? Is that economic development?
Community and economic development. That's correct.
Gotcha. So economic development, we're going to talk about social media and especially for businesses and a couple of do's and don'ts that you have to recommend people on how they get their message across socially.
Well, I have two that I focus on a lot when I'm giving educational programs to small business owners. And in the article on the blog is cross-promoting your social media platforms. I talk about Facebook collaborations a lot. I don't think a lot of people have heard of them, but they can be a very powerful tool for small businesses. You get together some small businesses in your community, and what you agree to do is basically share, comment, and like other people's posts. And, of course, that's what Facebook and many of the other social media sites, in their algorithms, that's what they're looking for. And so it can actually create more engagement and more views. And so it's sort of a cooperative way for businesses to work together and collaborate through social media. It can be very powerful, cross-promoting that way. The other thing is to remind everyone to use photos and videos, especially videos. Even Facebook is saying that if you want people to become engaged in your posts, you need those short videos. And you can use a simple program like iMovie on your iPhone and some other software editing or video editing software to make sure that you put on labels on those videos, because a lot of people will not turn on the sound, or they're in their office and can't turn on their sound.
Right.
And so it's important to have those subtitles. So if I had two really important do's, those are the two I would pick.
You know, Sabrina, we've talked about this, that these videos don't have to be completely stellar and filtered and all of that stuff. I mean, just a little snapshot of what we're doing.
Yeah, people like them when they don't look produced and they look really authentic, like it's just capturing what's happening in the moment with all the little imperfections. Those seem to do the best on social media.
Yeah, this is who we are and this is what we do. And yeah, some people with these videos, they may not necessarily press on them, but they'll just let the video go.
Yeah, and you can see that in your post analytics. You can see how many people watched a video, how long they watched it for, what the average watch time is. And Facebook will even break it down and tell you what types of groups, like men or women, and their age ranges, who the video was most popular with. So it really gives you insight into who is interested in your content, which helps you understand who your core audience is.
I found, though, especially lately, and Pam, I would think about this, like if you're going to put something on Facebook and it doesn't have an image, it can pretty quickly just get lost because there are so many out there. So if I just have a line or two, it may just get passed by.
Right. You have to understand how much information, how much social media is out there bombarding people at any given time. And so, yeah, you really need something that's going to pop, photographs that are going to pop, photographs that tell a story. When I was doing a crowdfunding campaign a couple of years ago, we used children in the video, children, cats, dogs. If you want something that's going to capture their attention and lead them into your post, even if it's business or business related, having a couple of children where you've got the parents' approval to put your message out there can be very powerful. I also have a young woman who's a real dynamo. She's now down in Nashville, Tennessee, and her posts are they're so colorful, they're so vibrant. She does a lot of her own modeling. She's actually a retailer of women's fashions, and so you want those photos to pop for you.
If you're following others, or if you're sharing things that make it look like you're up to date, like you're may not even be an industry leader, but you're definitely up to date with all the trends going on.
Oh, yes. It's always nice to know what your competition is doing. The great part is you can go out and like their page, but see how they're doing it and learn from what they're doing, the do's, the don'ts, what you like, what you don't like. They say that, copying someone is the best form of it's the best compliment
Sure.
you can give them, but it's also a great way to learn. So you definitely want to go out there and like pages that are in similar industries to get a feel for how they're marketing their businesses.
And Facebook, if you have a business or organization page, Delos will even give you, they have a tool where you can watch other pages. So you can choose, I think, up to 10 pages to watch, and It gives you a little dashboard. Because I do this here at Farm Bureau, and I can see how many new likes that other page has gained, or how many people they're reaching in a given week, kind of what their engagement is, and I can see if it's going up and down. So if a page that I'm watching has a sudden big uptick, I'll click on it and go see what they did this week to gain that uptick and maybe learn a little something or try to emulate what they did.
Some people have a tweet that is pinned. Could be a link to it, or it could be just something they thought was kind of funny or something like that. Is that difficult to do?
No, not at all. On Facebook and Twitter, in the upper right-hand corner of your post or your tweet, there should be 3 little dots. And if you click on that, you should see an option to pin to top. And people do that when something's particularly important to them, or if it's an organization, it could be an event or just something special going on or of great importance, that you want people to see that at the top of your timeline if they visit your page that day.
So, Pam, if we're going to pin something, I assume that needs to be pretty up to date. If we had a sale or an event a couple of months ago and it's still pinned, that may not be. We have to keep track of that sort of thing.
I think that's one of the biggest issues, and a don't, really, when you're talking about the do's and the don'ts, is that you really need to be able to devote the time to your Facebook page. Any of your social media content. You need to do at least a couple posts every day. You need to keep things current, like you mentioned. You don't want something pinned up there. You don't want events. You don't want to be putting posts up of things that, happen. I think another thing too is not just social media, but on websites. I don't know about you, but I get pretty skeptical when I go into a website and see that it hasn't been updated since 2014. So, yeah, you want to keep everything current for sure on your social media. And, there's also another thing you need to think about is sometimes business owners, they don't have a lot of time for social media. So picking one platform, having 4 or 5 platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all going at the same time, if you can't actually focus on that and get things current and updated like every day, or, continue that conversation with your customers through social media, then focusing on one to begin with and getting that down, there's a way where you can go in and post, 2 or 3 posts that will come up in the future. That's a great way to do it. Go in the morning, update your social media, let those things pop out throughout the day. But if you don't have a lot of time, then I would definitely narrow it down. Sometimes more is not better, not if you're going to try to keep up with it. Although you can learn how to then post to one and share to your other social media. That can be very effective too. It's takes a little planning. It's like any kind of marketing when you're in a small business or a business.
This is interesting, Sabrina. We've talked about some of these things before, you know, and the other thing, going back to what Pam was talking about, if you haven't posted a tweet for 3 years, maybe you better just take that account down.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, if I'm looking at that, I might think, oh, well, you know, how seriously are they taking this? Or,
exactly.
You know,
I'm not going to be able to interact with them through Twitter. And we know research shows that millennials prefer to ask questions and buy products and interact through an online medium as opposed to going to a store or making a phone call to another person. So, yeah, that's advice that we've given people many times, DeLoss, is that we would rather you do one really well than do 3 or 4 not so great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Pam, you mentioned... go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. She was talking about the, that customers and millennials like to interact online. So, you know, whether you're talking about Twitter or Facebook, one of the things I see small businesses doing and making a mistake is that when someone responds, good or bad, to your Facebook, and they've sent you a message or you want to respond immediately. I mean, I have a lot of clients who are thinking, it's, I'll get to that when I feel like it. No, we live in a very fast-paced world here and a lot of information out there. That getting back to that customer via that social media site is really important. You need to do that really quickly.
Pam Schallhorn at U of I Extension. The blog she mentioned, by the way, is titled Building Entrepreneurial Communities. You can find that through Google searches in U of I Extension. And you can also find it within their multi-county unit, Bond, Clinton, Jefferson, Marion, and Washington. With Sabrina Berkowitz, I'm DeLoss Yankee, RFD Town and Country Partners.
Hello, I'm Trooper Teal at the Illinois State Police. April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. According to the most recent report from the National Highway Safety Administration, 394,450 people were either injured or killed in distracted driving related incidents. Avoid distractions while driving, such as talking on your cell phone, texting, eating, and even adjusting the radio. Wear your seatbelt and remember to just drive.
A message from the Illinois Farm Bureau and the Illinois State Police.
Clean water matters to all of us. For years, farmers have been calling for clean water and clear rules because we know it's possible to have both. Now is the time to make your voice heard. The proposed clean water rule announced by the Environmental Protection Agency and the Army Corps would end years of uncertainty over where federal jurisdiction begins and ends. Support the new rule. Text WATERS to 52886. That's WATERS to 52886 and contact your local county farm bureau for more information.
With another farm, family, or food-related Illinois destination you might enjoy, I'm Mike Orso with RFD Town and Country Partners. It might finally be time to visit your favorite local nursery. If it's local, chances exist it's operated by a family.
The colder the winter, the earlier the itch, I think.
McNitt Growers in Carbondale consists of greenhouses covering more than an acre. Bill McNitt and his family grow as many as 100 different varieties of vegetable plants and flowers.
Well, when I was growing up in Colorado, my mom worked for a neighbor in a greenhouse. And so when we moved to Illinois and the orchard wasn't working and the vegetables weren't working, she decided maybe we needed to do a greenhouse. And so we built a quarter-acre greenhouse, and that's what they thought was going to be, the most we would need. And since then, it's grown to 1.5 acres.
When the weather finally breaks, many Illinoisans will want to get their hands dirty. What you should do first is check out the last day of possible frost in your part of Illinois.
Right around our frost date, like I said, for me, that's the 15th of April, the soil's still cold. So you can't expect a warm weather plant like Binca or Impatiens and stuff like that really likes the heat. Lantana would be another one. They don't like cold, wet dirt. So if you're going and buying Binca and putting it out on the 15th day of April, you're going to have a very unhappy plant, and you're going to have a lot of dead plants because they require warmer soil. So something like that is better planted later in the month.
So once you get those vegetable and flower plants in the ground, What's the best thing you can do to make sure they survive and prosper? Bill McNitt offers these suggestions.
Using those Miracle-Gro watering things that have the put the fertilizer on. If they do that once a week, that would be great. Some of the controlled release fertilizers, if you add that to your soil, is good. But making sure that those plants get fed will help keep them be really pretty and nice looking.
So pay attention to your area's last frost dates. Read instructions that come with the plants you buy. And ask questions from local growers on what you might be interested in purchasing and planting. Do you have an Illinois farm, family, or food-related Illinois destination others should know about? If so, email us at news@ilfb.org. For RFD Town and Country Partners, I'm Mike Orso.
As you prepare for planting season, remember your neighbors. Whether you're an applicator, grower, or beekeeper, use FieldWatch to register your farm and monitor for sensitive sites around you. FieldWatch is a free, easy-to-use online mapping tool. Consulting FieldWatch is now a requirement for the over-the-top use dicamba products. Communicating with your neighbors will help you protect your farm and the environment. Don't wait. Go online to fieldwatch.com. Growing agriculture. We grow best together.
Farm Week and Partners Magazine editor Chris Anderson connects rural routes for you. Chris shares her 4 decades of writing expertise by making sure each edition delivers the best information. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I was raised on a farm in Champaign County growing corn, soybeans, popcorn, pumpkins, and poultry. My top priority is to inform, educate, and even entertain Farm Bureau members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Jim Taylor back on the RFD Radio Network. Time now for our weekly IHSA segment on Town and Country Partners. What an honor today. We get the chance to visit with Jack Sikma. He was born and raised in rural Illinois, Witchert in Kankakee County, and he had a stellar high school basketball career at St. Anne High School, leading his team to the state tournament, a great collegiate career at Illinois Wesleyan in Bloomington, and then an unbelievable NBA career, won an NBA title, most notably played with the Seattle Supersonics. And Jack Sikma is being inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame later this year, and he took time out of his busy schedule to talk with us. And we spent a majority of our conversation talking about his upbringing in rural Illinois and began playing basketball on the farm. This is our conversation with Jack Sikma earlier this week.
Well, thanks, Jim. Very honored with the Naismith Hall of Fame enshrinement coming up in September. It all started back in growing up in a farm in the Witchert community, kind of a Dutchburg, where I had a ton of relatives and really started playing basketball against my cousins at the family reunions. Everyone had a hoop up on their garage or warehouse or whatever, and spent a lot of time out there by myself shooting the basketball. So it started there, and then in those small rural areas in Illinois, the big event every week was the Friday night basketball game at the high school. And so my dad brought me to games when I was young, and that was the first big goal. I wanted to be out there playing for my high school team when I got old enough, and just spent a lot of time shooting the basketball and playing with my friends. There was a number of times where, a nose was bloody, but we kept playing, and very competitive, and it really set the tone as far as what I wanted to do, and I committed myself at an early age to try to make that high school team.
What did that rural life really teach you at a young age? I mean, you were involved in a farming community. How did that really impact your life going forward?
Well, I think it was very important in my life in that you really had to go to work every day. And in the summers when the crops were available and you needed to get them out of the fields and into the market, you started at dawn and finished the day when the work was done. So I think, number one, you just had to show up every day and do your work. So that was number one, but always had a lot of support from the family and so forth. Once it's done, you can work on what you need to do, and most of my time was spent shooting hoops or playing with my buddies or whatever.
Well, you had an esteemed collegiate career at Illinois Wesleyan in Bloomington, and we all know about the great NBA success you had. I know most notably with the Seattle Supersonics and an NCAA title. But I assume some of the fondest memories for you were at an early age when you picked up the game, you know, the Norman Rockwell type of stuff. And how vividly do you remember 1974 for the small community of St. Anne when they get down to the glorious Assembly Hall and play in a state basketball tournament?
Well, it was actually 1973 when St. Anne went, and in 1972 was the first year that Illinois basketball split up into two divisions. So we had the single A and double A. And I remember my junior year, the basketball team always got a chance to go down and watch the tournament. And I watched went for an afternoon of games and watched the first single A tournament. And I was with my teammates, and we all looked at each other and said, hey, we got a shot at doing this. It was a close-knit group. Grew up with from a early age with most of my teammates. And a matter of fact, you know, the front line my senior year were myself and then two Sigma cousins. So we went Sigma, Sigma, Sigma. That tells you how close a community and how much fun it was when it's not only just your buddies but cousins you're playing with. And it was an exciting time for our family as a whole, making it down to the state tournament.
And then just that community, when you talk about those small, you know, communities really rallying around the local team. I know you had to experience that in the 1970s.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was exciting in the gym on basketball nights. We had a school of 700 kids coming from 2 or 3 different farming communities.
That was our conversation from earlier this week with the Witchert Wonder, the great Jack Sikma. Grew up in Witchert, Illinois, in Kankakee County, being inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame later this year. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Thank you for joining us for RFD Town & Country Partners. Get out and enjoy Illinois.